Welcome, everybody. Hey, thanks so much for joining us for today's webinar, all about the secret key to using social media to drive Giving Tuesday success. My name is Wayne Veldsman. I'm one of the digital growth experts here at Sharity Global, and I'm so excited to be joined by Lisa Brinker, who is our social media expert. Lisa, welcome. I'm going to let you introduce yourself to everybody as well.
Hey, thanks, Wayne. I'm Lisa Brinker, as Wayne said, and I've been working with nonprofits and for-profit businesses for over 9 years, and I have a master's in public relations. So I have an eclectic background with journalism and everything, working on social media and digital communications. So
super excited. Lisa, honestly, when I first met you, I was just so impressed by your experience, like you said, both the for-profit and the nonprofit world. And then what we're talking about today is Giving Tuesday. And man, you opened my eyes so much to the amount of preparation that it takes. So that's what we're going to be talking about a lot today, right? Is actually that preparation side of things.
Right.
It's really Giving Tuesday. And so if you're ready, why don't we just jump right on in?
Right. Okay. So I'll give you a minute and get this up.
I'll let you share your screen, bring up the PowerPoint. I think a good place to start for everybody out there is almost just around what even is Giving Tuesday.
Giving Tuesday started in 2012. It's a single day of giving held annually after the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And each year it's just continually grown. It's like a way for communities to unite and support their favorite nonprofits. So last year in 2020, during the insanity of COVID, Giving Tuesday raised $2.47 billion. Well, the nonprofits that were doing it raised that combined. And that was a 25% increase over the previous year. So each year it kind of grows around that 25%. So it just keeps growing and growing as more people find out about it and more nonprofits participate.
That's crazy that even in a pandemic year, it still went up. And so it's not unreasonable to think this year is going to be the biggest one ever.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm curious, should every nonprofit or, nonprofit organization be participating in Giving Tuesday?
I think they should. Everyone should have at least some type of presence, because with Giving Tuesday, because it's actually worldwide phenomenon last few years, more people are knowing about it. So it's almost like free press. When you join in on Giving Tuesday, you're kind of going off the coattails of other nonprofits. If someone else is promoting it, you can cross promote and really just kind of keyword in and pull attention that you really wouldn't usually get.
Love it. So everybody can benefit from it. I guess, how do we get started?
Okay, so with Giving Tuesday, you've got some outside assets that you can use. Giving Tuesday has logos that you can get. The little heart with the globe is one of them, and they're free to download, and you can use them however you want without doing too many edits. You can put them on your own stuff. So going to www.givingtuesday.org/logos, or just the Giving Tuesday and browse their website. There's so many different logo assets that you can download, press release formats. There's a lot of things that they give you to get started. So that's kind of your first place to go.
And so these logos and the assets, almost by using those, that's kind of becoming the universal signal that it is Giving Tuesday.
Yeah, you just use it in coordination with your own personal logos. And it just makes it so it's easily recognizable to get the people's mindsets that, hey, this is a big day of giving. So you have that. Of course, there's also big companies are getting involved. The last few years, Facebook has offered matching donations through, I think, the Bill Gates Foundation, and PayPal does things. And a lot of big companies are doing their own matches for Giving Tuesday. Sadly, those are not usually announced till September, October, right before. So you kind of have to keep an eye out for that. But there are a lot of big companies that are getting involved in Giving Tuesday. So that's something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, I want to take a time out and restate that for everybody that's listening and watching, specifically Facebook and PayPal, it's been a couple years now that they've done these matches. And so even though it hasn't been announced yet, this is a little bit of almost insider information to be on the lookout to sign up for their programs, and they'll actually match all the donations that you get on Giving Tuesday.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely wonderful.
there's usually a lot of limitations to it. Like I think last year it was $7 million, maybe. I'd have to double check that. Each year it goes up, and it was gone in like 3 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So usually you have to do a kind of a bit of a gear up to even get involved in that match. Like have all your donors ready and
Nice.
ready to give it exactly 7 a.m. or whatever time in your time zone that it starts. So Facebook will announce it. You just have to watch and they'll tell you all their stipulations. So,
Beautiful. And that's why preparation is key.
Yes.
That's what we're talking all
you have
about.
to be ready for that.
You
it's
have
a lot of
to
money.
be ready. Love it. And so I see next thing on here is setting goals. So let's talk a little bit about setting your goals.
Right. So the first thing you do when you're going to plan for Giving Tuesday is set a goal. Do you want to just raise some money for your general fund, or do you have a project that you want to fundraise for? So that's the first decision you have to make, and then prepare everything from there. So you really want to have a SMART goal, something that's measurable, something that you can like see the progress, so you can follow up. There's a lot of follow up with the SMART goals, is you want to be able to show that something's going to how you helped people. So setting those goals and then having a visual goal that you can promote is very key and vital.
Yeah. So that's something that I guess we had talked about a little bit beforehand, is I guess the importance of including examples, right? And talk a little bit more about that, I guess, because it's examples for the people that are going to be donating, right? So they know what the money's being used for.
Yes. If you have a single goal, that's going to be easy to get an example. You're raising to build this house for this family or that. But if you're doing more of a general fund goal, you can still do examples. You can do examples like, we're raising $50,000 and this $50,000 will get 20 people meals or more meals. Meals for a year. I don't know.
There you go.
Shoes for 5,000 kids. So having an example to let people relate is very important as well. So even if you're doing a general fund, you really need to kind of have those mini visual element goals. So I know one year with my past nonprofit, we did a general fund, and even though we were raising for general funds, you could sit like at $10,000. This first $10,000 could purchase this, and this for these animals, because I worked with an animal nonprofit. So you don't want to say if you're doing a general fund, you don't want to say it's going to buy those things for those animals, but it could. $10,000 equals 1,000 meals. So to give those people examples and mental visualizations of what their money and their donations are going to do.
So I like what you said earlier, how they can relate to it. That's beautiful. So setting a specific goal is super important. I like it. And so does it have to be just Giving Tuesday? You said a general fund, so it can relate to your year-round goal as well.
Yeah, this is just a part and a piece of what you're doing. So if you do general fund, it's part of your big goal. And it's, even if you're doing a specific item, it's still part of your fundraising goal for the end of the year or for the full year, depending.
Wonderful. And so then the other bullets on this page, I know we're going to talk about these other things throughout the presentation. So next step is gathering your assets, all the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, it's always good to be prepared, but it's great to have assets. I know like a lot of nonprofits and a lot of fundraisers throughout history, they do like the thermometers where you show the progress. So having a lot of your assets pre-made for that day is really vital, because Giving Tuesday is the busiest day of the year. When I've worked nonprofits and done Giving Tuesday, it's insane. You're trying to get this out and get that out and update your people and send out thank yous and watch the numbers. And so having all of your photos pre-chosen, all your edits pre-done, get your it's critical to have everything you possibly can pre-recorded, pre-prepared, because you're not going to have time the day of. You really aren't.
You will not. So I think we'll dive into assets here more in a second, but then the other two big things that we're going to touch on later on is getting your board involved.
Yep.
Importance of that. And then creating a calendar, which is, you opened my whole mind to this, creating a calendar, which I'm I'm super excited to talk about. And so why don't we just start with, how do you suggest we all get prepared and organized uh, with a calendar?
Okay. So yeah, getting a calendar made is critical because of course as nonprofits, you're wearing so many hats, you never ever can keep track of anything. It really is. There's a million things going on. So making a calendar, I use Google Calendar, but I know there's like so many different things. Like there's the mondays.com, there's the Basecamp, there's a million to-do task lists that you could do. I like Google Calendar because I can have it on my phone. and it
True, and
can
it's free, right?
and it's free. So but making a calendar is super vital. You start on Giving Tuesday, you backtrack, you can tell yourself when to send out press releases. This calendar right here is an example of one of the nonprofits I'm helping, Bears, etc. I've got it's all backtracked and all set. I start with Giving Tuesday, go back so many days to plan this. I know we've got a checklist you can follow that has, this is how I set this up, was following my checklist that I made for Giving Tuesday. So I start Giving Tuesday, backtrack the day before and set up my email to go out the day before as a reminder, and so on and so forth, back to the day I started planning. So
Nice. And so if I can just interrupt, what Lisa just mentioned is the checklist that she created. And so most everybody, if you are watching this webinar, you should have been sent the checklist, or else go check it out in our Knowledge Center, charityglobal.com/ I think it's Knowledge Center. The Giving Tuesday checklist is in there. And it's so in depth and so helpful. I can't even explain it. And then along with the calendar, I know you've mentioned notifications before as well, right?
Yes, I stress setting up the notifications. It's like, I don't know how many times I would get busy with a million other projects and look at my calendar in 3 days before I was supposed to send out a press release. So you have to set up these reminders and then don't silence them, because that's another downfall some people do, is they silence their notifications. But setting up, putting in all of your calendar dates and then setting up a reminder the day before, so or the week before, or on the Monday before, however you want to set that up. But you've got to get those notifications set, because you will forget, and then you get behind, and it just kind of snowballs a lot.
As everybody saw on the previous slide, right, the calendar is so important. And as you'll see in the checklist, there's so many different things that you need to be doing that if you don't set notifications, you're going to forget. And honestly, all of your planning ahead of time will be wasted. So you'll have planned it all, but then you'll forget to execute on it. And so notifications is beautiful. This is directly inside of Google Calendar is what we're looking at right now. Then of course, the other tools that Lisa mentioned, like monday.com or Basecamp, has notifications built in as well.
Yeah. And, but yeah, the calendars can be super detailed or super vague. Like, even like what you're going to ask for on social media for the week, because you're going to want to set up your asks even then. So it's really important just to have that guide that'll keep reminding you. Because like I don't even have I have a paper calendar that I do. I usually plan before I make a calendar, I always paper plan it and then put it in, because paper is easier to erase and adjust. And so like a paper calendar is there, but if you get, I don't know about you, but I know 3 or 4 days a week I forget, and then I have to go back and cross out days, and you get so busy you forget to check your calendar. So these notifications in a digital calendar that will remind you is super important.
Yeah, or you get other pieces of paper that lay on top of the calendar, and then it's
it gets lost on your desk, and 6 weeks later you find it. Yeah.
So love it. These digital notifications is amazing. And so, then you mentioned a little bit around actually obviously remembering to do things and then executing. So how do you sort of communicate all these different execution things? And of course, the goals that we talked about earlier, setting your asks. There's lots of different ways to communicate it, including social media, right?
Yeah. So you've got your social media, which is when you're going to be promoting through like talking to your people, telling them what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. But there's so much beyond. It's really important to not just have asks set for social media, but to take that ask across all of your channels, not just Facebook. You've got your website should have the exact same thing that your saying on Facebook, your newsletters. Like where I worked before, we had like paper newsletters that we sent out. And so coordinating that, and that's part of the preparing ahead of time, because I don't know about all of you, but my newsletter for December was written in September. So like
there's a lot that goes into it. You have to write
yes,
it,
and
you
then
have to get it designed, you have to get it printed, got to get it
yeah,
mailed.
it's any place that does any kind of print media knows that you plan like 4 months in ahead. So that's part of what you have to be so prepared and setting your goals so early for Giving Tuesday, is if you want to promote it in the newsletter before Giving Tuesday, you have to write it 6 months in advance. So
yeah,
there's that. But you have to have the ask set. You have to know exactly what you're asking 6 months in advance, so you can make sure everything says the same exact thing throughout. Like I said, in your newsletter, your emails that go out need to say the same thing. If you do flyers because you're a small local nonprofit, that should say the same thing. Some nonprofits use billboards. That should say, like, everything. You've got your radio and TV. I know PSAs are really important. So scripting that, contacting your newsletter stations and having them say the same thing. So I know we send out letters to our top donors. Those should say the same thing. Some nonprofits do text messages. So even like knowing your ask and having people sign up to get text notifications before Giving Tuesday, the day of, reminders. There's so many tools out there, but it should all say the exact same thing and have that set message. Even just having the conversations, like teaching your team and your board members to say a certain thing for Giving Tuesday, how they should ask, what they should talk about. So knowing that and almost scripting a little bit what your conversation should say, so that everyone's on the same page and the same note. And of course, press releases that need to go out should say the same thing.
Yeah. And so I know we're going to talk about team here in a second, but just to reiterate, I sort of have two questions. One, I mean, there's all these different channels, and we talked about asks earlier. So should we be having different asks for different channels?
No, all your channels your ask should be solid and singular. And you can it doesn't have to be word for word. You can say, like I said, there's examples you can give, but it needs to be like the same topic, like not topic, the same. It's like branding. It's got to say the same thing. Even if it's saying it different ways, it needs to say the same exact thing over and over and over, so that people get it in their heads, what's going on and why it's so important that they give to you on that day.
And you know, one thing that it almost comforts me, what you just said, because as we can see, right, there's so many different channels that it can get overwhelming. But when you start to realize that it is overarching the same message, one ask, these things become a lot more, easy to manage. So you can have some different verbiage, but overall we want to say the same thing. And then my other question was around social media. There's so many different social media channels now. Do you recommend that people hit every single social media channel there is, or is it better maybe to focus down on just a couple?
I talked about this in the last time I did a webinar with Sharity. Was there is so much limitation on time for nonprofits. You're always busy. You've only got so many resources, so many people. There's the huge nonprofits that have a team of 10 people doing their social, and they can afford to hit every single social media channel. But most of us only have a little bit of time to squeeze in a little post here and a post there. And so using the channels that hit the right audience is vital. There is also like a difference. Most nonprofits have actually two different target audiences. They have their target audience for their clients, and they have their target audience for their donors. Like a youth nonprofit, they're going to have their clients are going to be the youth, mainly youth people. Youth people, I guess. I hope there are people. Youths, whatever that word is. So that's their client base, but their donor base is not the same thing. Kids can't donate to you. So you're looking for their parents or their grandparents or rich people that you really want, or corporations. So with Giving Tuesday, your focus is going to be on those channels that hit your donation target audience. So you don't want to promote Giving Tuesday to your kids that are going to be you're helping, you want to promote it to the people who are going to give you money. So TikTok is not going to be the best place to promote Giving Tuesday, but Facebook is, because Facebook has that larger audience or that older audience that is going to give you money. So
Nice.
you really want to
Nice.
focus on that when you go with the social media side.
So very much take a step back and think about not where your normal audience is necessarily of who you're serving, but where is the audience of your donors, and focus just on there. And as you said, it's a lot of work. So funny enough, little teaser here for everybody. Near the end of this presentation, we're actually going to talk about how potentially Sharity can make it less work for you. But right now, where can people find help, right? If they want other help, hopefully there's some sort of internal team, right?
Right. So with this, because there's so much to it, you have to get your people involved. And your people aren't just your team members. Your team is a very big part of it. You want them to all know what's going on Giving Tuesday so they know what's happening. And they need to know what you're asking for and how to promote it. But you've also got your board members that can get involved. Getting them involved can include asking them to just go on social media and share your posts. It can include them getting together and making the first donation of the day as a group or as little individual groups. So they can kick off Giving Tuesday right with this huge start donation. Or even have it scattered a little bit so that whenever you're getting a little lower where this slows down, you get a big donation that encourages other people too. So talking to your board members who should be donating in some way or shape or form to agree that they're going to donate at this time or as a group or however. Or if they just, there are board members who just are there because not to donate, but because they're experts in their field or something of that nature. If they don't have money, they can still donate by starting a Facebook fundraiser or doing some kind of outside fundraiser to get money that way too. They can send letters, they can make phone calls. The board is very vital too to promoting. That's part of why you need to have your ask set early so you can give them the script and ask them to do what they need to do. And of course, you've got volunteers. Not all nonprofits have volunteers, but right now we're all kind of the couch warriors, and because we're all stuck at home. So getting volunteers that will agree to share your posts that day, or reach out to their 5 friends and get them involved, or if you have a physical facility, maybe they work at an extra shift on Giving Tuesday to free up more team members to do things for Giving Tuesday. So getting your volunteers involved is important too. But some of the biggest things to get involved is your top donors. These people love what you do. They are so involved in what you do, they're going to drop everything. So contacting them special and saying, hey, we have this awesome Giving Day coming up. How can you help? You don't have to tell them to give you money. Just see, how can you help? Maybe they are only give on a certain day every year, their birthday, so they can't give you financially, but they can agree to reach out to their friends and family. They can agree to do social media fundraising. These top donors love you. So getting them involved is kind of critical. And again, it doesn't have to be give me money on Giving Tuesday. They have a network of people that they know typically that make around the same amount of money they do. So asking them to just get more involved for this one day kind of gives them incentive and makes them feel even more connected to who you are and what you do. And then, of course, getting your social supporters involved is that's the social media aspect. And you don't have to even do that the day of. What I always kind of like to do was make like a pledge, and everyone knows the day and time. Even if they don't have money, they are going to pledge to share your post that day. They're going to pledge to start a Facebook fundraiser themselves. So you can get your social media people involved before Giving Tuesday and expand how much you make, because you're telling them, you may not have money, but these are other ways you can help. These are other ways you can help us make more money on that day. So
Wonderful.
Giving your social supporters more than just here, give us money, these are other things you can do to help is critical to expand your reach and expand how much you're going to make on the day of Giving Tuesday.
Absolutely critical. I want to encourage everybody, click back a minute or two. The amount of examples that Lisa just gave around how you can get everyone involved, that's outside of just Oh, get involved by giving us money. So critical. And all these things, when Lisa was talking about volunteers, she said, well, maybe you don't have volunteers. Well, if you're watching this right now, you understand the importance of getting prepared. So now you can get some volunteers ahead of time and get creative on how they can actually be a benefit to you. I love the idea, Lisa, around the Facebook giving campaign
Mhm.
is wonderful. And another big tip is whether it's your donors, your board, your volunteers, your social supporters, write a little bit of text and copy for them, like a post. And so make it as easy as possible for them. And so when you reach out and say, hey, would you pledge to share a message about us on Giving Tuesday? Or would you pledge to help support us through talking to your audience or your followers? Go ahead and give them the message and say, feel free to write something on your own, but here's a great example, or here's something you can just go ahead and copy and paste as well, making it really, really easy for people to do.
Yes.
And so, obviously we're talking all about Giving Tuesday right now,
Mhm.
but Giving Tuesday plays a pretty big role, or, a role in overarching year-end giving. Can we,
Right.
I think that's the next slide that we're on. What role does it play?
Yeah.
Here
Yes.
we go.
So a lot of people think of Giving Tuesday as just this individual little blip on their calendar. And of course, it's there. It's very important to do it, but it's not just like one little thing. It's part of your whole end of year giving. End of year for most nonprofits is kind of critical. We typically make roughly like 30, 40, 50% of our income in just the last 3 months of our year. And of course, Giving Tuesday falls in that last 3 months of the year, which so when you're planning Giving Tuesday, you can't think of it as that individual piece. It's part of that whole. So when you set your end of year goals, you got to think of that as part of it. Or especially if you're doing like a general fund style, um, ask is if you got to include that in your planning, that end of year Giving Tuesday association. I know with end of year we're asking for money. So if you don't include Giving Tuesday in that overall plan, then all of a sudden out of nowhere you're double asking for money and putting more pressure on people. So having that built into your plan at the get-go spaces out those asks so that people don't feel overwhelmed.
Nice. So here's a question. Since it's a piece of the overarching end of year giving, do you recommend that people ask for sort of more that general fund, or do you maybe recommend that they do get more specific, maybe pull a piece out of the whole general fund just for Giving Tuesday?
It really depends on what the nonprofit needs. If you are really needing just general money, then yeah, just pull a piece out, go through, and you can even ask for winter expenses. If you know in the winter here is after from January to March, you're super slow, donations drop, but because it's winter, you spend more on gas and electric to keep your building warm or your people warm or feeding more people or however your nonprofit works. You can pull that out of your general fund and make it a specific ask too. You can look at last year's expenses for the end of the year and then pull a chunk out of that and still general fund, but it's helping you in that specific way and still giving you that specific goal. So
Nice.
yeah, you can have a real cool project, or you can just be like, it's coming to the end of the year. We are going to get cold as all get out here, and we got to keep our building warm and our people warm and feed these extra 20 people that are going to be out of their house. However your nonprofit works. So it could still be a general fund type thing, but still be specified and still get you what you need.
I like that a lot. What you said there, as far as think about it ahead of time so you're not double asking people, right? Or so it
Right.
doesn't appear as if, well, you just asked me for money. Now you're asking
Right.
me again.
Yeah.
I personally like the idea of having that general fund, maybe even talking about it, and then saying for Giving Tuesday, we're focusing on this one piece, right? Maybe it
Right.
is we're preparing for winter ahead of time, so we need these funds now. But that way, even during Giving Tuesday, you're actually talking about the entire end of year giving,
Right.
right? Because Giving Tuesday is only a piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, you're talking about a specific thing. And maybe it's a good time that we move on here and we actually talk about end of the year giving in a whole.
Right. So as a whole, the end of year giving lasts 3 to 4 months. It really, it starts in around October, and the 4 months is kind of the follow-up. That's January. That's, you've got your money, but now you've got to follow up behind it. So you're starting in October, you're planning all your asks. It's kind of, you don't want to push your people for 4 months solid. So you kind of start off soft, just kind of like trickle in some on social media. Maybe instead of once or twice a week, you talk about it in a couple emails here and there. Then November comes, and November is when you start really kind of ramping up. Thanksgiving's coming, Giving Tuesday's coming. So your ask's gonna start getting a little harder. Yes.
Question.
Yeah.
In October, I see you say soft asks. Could this even be like a preparation, like saying we're going to be asking soon, right?
You still want donations at that time because it is kind of critical, but you're not going to be like, give us money now, we need it right this millisecond. It's going to be just kind of like you pepper in some of your some asks where you're talking about why it's so important to give during those last 3 months. You'll do some asks where you're, instead of asking for exact amounts, you're just kind of being like, hey, how can you help? Can you help a little here, there?
These are the things we're working on.
Yeah.
If you'd like to give, here's an option.
Maybe even pepper in some asks that aren't monetary. Ask more for volunteers if you need extra help during those times, or ask for some shares to use that October to build your audience, so that when the harder times come, you have a broader audience to hit. Because social media, you're only hitting like a 1 or 2% of your audience. So having a larger audience when you're doing your harder asks can be critical. So October, you can be asking for money, but it may be a great time to ramp up and do an ask to invite friends, to talk to people, to build your email list. So those are kind of softer asks. You're not asking for money, but you're still asking for something.
So that's an amazing thing right there, that it had gone out of my mind, because I thought of asks as money, but ask for the non-monetary things, right? This is where start building up those volunteers, start getting those supporters, even the donors, asking them, hey, do you have other people that you can help share our mission to?
Yeah, you got to remember that asks are not just money. Something one of my clients asked was about, they wanted to figure out a way to reach more of their audience on Facebook. And there really isn't a way. There used to be some ways a while ago. Now you really can't. There's no mass Facebook message. You don't see all of your followers. So a way to do that is to get people into your email list, because they're going to get your email. Now they may not open it because open rates can be weird, but they're going to get it. Unlike Facebook, that's only reaching that 1% of their audience. So using October to funnel people into these more guaranteed channels can be very critical. And people are more willing, if they don't have money, to do that than scrounge up $5 out of their bank account. And then, like I said, you're not hard asking for 3 months solid, or people start getting sick of your asks. You're asking, hey, sign up for our emails. Hey, sign up to get a text notification if you have that option, or even sending them to your website, just getting them involved in that way. So you can do that first month of soft asks to be more funneling than give us money.
Beautiful. All right, I got us off track a little bit. Thank you so much. I actually like that we dove deeper into that. So then November, ramping up Giving Tuesday. Yeah,
you're going to have Giving Tuesday. You're going to be asking for that. So maybe you're going to narrow your asks down. It's going to be a hard ask. You're getting people ready to give you money but it's a harder ask, and it's really going towards something. And then December's kind of broke up. We all know we got holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah. There's a million holidays in December. I could spend 6 hours listing them all. But you have an ask that's somehow associated with your
general fund or your entire end of year plan.
And your holiday asks are like, donate $5 in honor of your friend, and we'll send them this coupon. Like, you can make it a gift idea to donate and give it away. It's a really great last minute ask if you have a digital certificate you can send, because I don't know how many people called my nonprofit the day before Christmas, wanting something to give for that person they forgot, or that new
Like a
boyfriend of their
donation has
kids,
been
or
made in your
yes,
name. I'm with you.
yes. So that's a great, neat little idea to do right around Christmas time. And then of course you have the last week of the year where you can totally change gears and be like, taxes, because there's so many cool tax things going on right now with the CARES Act. And so, and normally you've got that last little week before the year end to get tax donations in. So that's a quick
So
little extra. Yeah.
is this taxes in the sense of you're almost informing people, donate now so you can get a tax break yourself? Is
Yeah.
that what we're talking about?
That you can work, it works with companies too. So that it's a quick little end of year ask for, and you can also kind of trickle in the holidays gifts too, because a lot of people celebrate holidays different times as well. But that's kind of like, you split your ask, and that final week of the year you just basically hard ask everything.
Nice.
So it's like a ramp up. You're going to ask harder and harder and harder each month until that last week of the year where you're just trying to get as much money as you possibly can.
I like it. And
But
then
if
we
you
hit
ask,
January. Oh,
yeah, then
sorry,
you
go
hit
ahead.
January.
Finish.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you hit
Arguably
January,
the
and
most important. I'm going to call it out.
yes,
Potentially the most important, January.
follow up. I cannot stress how important it is to follow up. And this is for Giving Tuesday too. You have to follow up afterwards. You need to thank everyone. You need to show people that you did what you said you were going to do. If you're fundraising for the electricity bill for the next few months, following up with a picture of your little utility gauge that's just spinning, or a short video, or however, you need to have a follow-up and tell your people how their money helped, because the following year when you ask again, they're going to be more willing to do it. And that's how you grow Giving Tuesday each year. If you follow up and you grow your audience and you tell them how thankful you are for participating in that single day of giving, or the end of year giving, or however it goes, they're going to be more willing in the end.
Love that.
Yeah.
So you got to
So
follow up. People need to know that,
yeah.
one, you cared.
Yes.
You do truly appreciate it. And the biggest thing, I was reading a white paper earlier today. The biggest thing is that you actually did what you promised. Right? It was talking about, and I know that Carol actually had a webinar recently on this as well, that a lot of times a board member won't even donate because they'll think, well, I don't know what the money's being used for, if it's actually being used for what you're saying. And so it's so important to have that follow-up so that people, honestly, you almost are building more trust, right?
Yes.
Building more trust, and then they'll give again the following year, and they'll even be more willing to tell their friends, their family, coworkers, whatever it is, to also give.
And that kind of falls in the donor development aspects of this. Is if you called a top donor before Giving Tuesday and asked them to help, and they donated $25,000 or $2,000 or $200 or however much they donated, after Giving Tuesday is over, you need to call that exact same donor and tell them, we purchased this, or your money did this. And that relationship building is vital to growing your audience. And because this year they may have gave $200, next year they may give $2,000, because now they are confident in who you are and what you do, and that their money is really being used like you told them it would be used. So there's a lot of, the follow-up is critical to everything you do, not just Giving Tuesday, not just end of year giving, but every year, all year round. So
it's so critical. So there's a lot of things that go into this. That would be pretty overwhelming. I would love for us to do a little recap before we move on. I know I mentioned that there was a way that Sharity is opening up to help people as well. But maybe we quickly touch on these. I see at the bottom, multiple asks and or events, and then we'll just do a quick recap of everything else.
Yeah. So the benefit of the end of the year is there's a lot of events going on that almost handing you your plan on a silver platter. So you want to do your gradual asks, like a ramp up of asks, like I said, and then you have these dates that are just there for you. You've got Giving Tuesday, you have Christmas, you have New Year's, text deadlines. Some people like their founder's birthday is in December, and so there's like, you have all these events that you can plan your asks around to space them out and make sure your ask is a gradual ramp up to the end. So using these days that people are already familiar with to do your asks, helps you plan, and helps you space things out, and just makes things a little easier on you when you're planning ahead.
Beautiful. Love it. Lisa, thanks so much. So I'm going to do a little rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Kind of recap for everybody. If you give us just a sentence or two answer,
Okay.
what are your thoughts?
Let's do it.
Great. All right. So Giving Tuesday, what is it?
Single day of giving that helps you raise a bunch of money and get your community involved.
Should everybody do Giving Tuesday?
Of course.
Love it. So how can people get started?
Go get your assets from Giving Tuesday's website. Check on Facebook and PayPal and big companies because they'll do matches, and talk to your top donors. Get your people involved. That's how you get prepared.
I like it. So there's a lot of stuff, though. You just said preparation. What's the best way to stay organized or to prepare?
Make a calendar with reminders because you get so lost in everything. Reminders are key.
Reminders are key. And so, we talked about social media. We talked about different channels. Should people focus on every single social media that there is?
Nope. You need to narrow it down and hit your donation target audience, not your clients, your donation. People that are going to donate to you, you need to focus on what social medias they are on.
Love that. There was an entire slide on tons of other channels. What do you think are maybe 3 of the other top channels that people can focus on for Giving Tuesday?
Emails, website, and press releases. So get your website saying what you want. You need to have a page for that with buttons. You need to get blog posts. You need to get your emails going out every week, month, however you do it, quarter. They need to ask and say the same thing. And then, of course, get some press releases out. Get your community involved.
Nice. Love it. And so how do you communicate these goals? Should we be having different asks on each channel?
Nope. You should set a single ask and just say it in different ways.
Love it. I'm having way too much fun with this. Okay. And so there's a lot of things going on. And so how can you get help? How can you get your internal team involved, outside help?
Well, getting your team involved, getting people involved. You get your team, make an ask, make sure they're, get a little script if you need to, and make sure everyone's saying the same thing. And they don't have to be raising money for you. They can just be getting other people involved.
It's those soft asks, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be money. I love it. So that's Giving Tuesday. And so what role does Giving Tuesday play in year-end giving?
It's just a piece of the puzzle.
It's a piece of the puzzle. And then as far as year-end giving is concerned,
ramp up your ask.
This slide right here.
Yep. Ramp up your ask. Nice. Don't just ask hard for 3 months and then follow up. That's the other important thing at the end of the year. Follow up, show people that you've used the money the way that you said you were going to use it. And thank them.
Awesome. And thank them, that follow-up. Lisa, absolutely amazing. And so, like I said, this is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on. And so Sharity has put together some programs to help. Is that right?
Right. Yes, we have.
What are we talking about?
All right. So we are going to be offering a 4-session course to help you do your plan, your end of year plan. Me and Ruth Patrick will be doing these sessions. It's will help you complete your end of the year calendar, get your year-end letters and emails ready, help set up a social strategy, get some stewardship ideas, and so much more. And then, of course, not only will you get these 4 sessions, but you're going to get a one-on-one 30-minute consult with one with me and one with Ruth. And so we're going to be doing that in September. So you got to sign up because it's a limited attendance. There's only so many spots available. So many nonprofits can join because we can only handle so many one-on-one consults in the time we have.
I think there's 10 spots available if I'm ready, and if they haven't already been taken by the time.
If you're watching this in 2 weeks, it may be gone. No.
So the link is either going to be around this video somewhere, or go to Charity's website. And one thing that I just want to state with this is that, I mean, this webinar right now has been all educational, but we haven't actually really helped to, complete any of these things. The accelerator course, right, is jumping, hands-on workshop, 4 sessions, actually, this is how you do it, and then helping you to do it also.
Yeah, each session, we're going to guide you through one step. We're going to talk to you. That's also why it's limited, so that we can customize it to the nonprofits that are attending. and you'll be given a task, and at the end of this, you complete it before our next session. So we're going to really help you walk you through exactly how to set up an end of year plan from
I'm
start to
excited.
finish.
I'm going to join anyways, because I'm just going to steal a lot of that knowledge. But and so then for people who maybe they're not ready to jump into the full course, dedicate 4 weeks, 4 sessions to it. We have another little option here as well.
Yeah, if you are just wanting some help planning your Giving Tuesday event, I am offering a 2-hour one-on-one session where you can ask your questions. I'll help you set your goals if you want, help you however you need for 2 hours of just dedicated time. We can do a Zoom conference, and it's like $249. So this will help you get prepared and really give you a good resource for any and all questions. If this is your first Giving Tuesday, or if you are really needing you've done Giving Tuesday in the past and have just not really gone anywhere. If you just want someone that'll talk to you through any brainstorming, or if you have questions, or you want me to give you examples on how to do your social media, it's really up to you what that 2 hours is going to be like. So
Love it. Beautiful. Lisa, thanks so much. And I just want everyone to think about in the sense of, Carol and the entire Sharity team have raised millions and millions and millions of dollars for nonprofits like yours. And so if, they can help you raise just more than $249 or only $14.99, increasing your fundraising, it's already worth it. And that's maybe 1 donation, 2 extra donations. It's really all it takes to cover this entire cost.
Right.
Truly amazing. So around this video somewhere, click the link, go to Sharity Global's website to check out the accelerator. And then if you have any questions, Lisa?
You can email me at lisa@charityglobal.com, and I will help you however I can.
Wonderful. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in today. Lisa, thank you again. We really appreciate it.